Hello everyone, I'm Tina. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to look at how to cut chicken breast correctly. So I've got a piece of chicken breast and we need to find the grain of the meat as usual. So we said before, with beef we need to cut against the grain. However, with chicken we need to cut along the grain because chicken has a much tender muscle. So if we cut against, it will all crumble up once it's stir fried. So we cut them in half and then half again, so in half the thickness, and then we need to cut them into strips in this first part of the video. And I will show you how to cut the slices in the next part. So make sure we find the grain and cut the strips along the grains. The thickness of the strips should be about 2 to 3 millimeters. So if you see on the video here, you can find long lines on the meat slices. Okay, let's finish cutting the rest of them. So whenever I cut chicken, there's always trimmings of a bit of the meat. There's also bones and everything. So I never throw it away. I keep it on the side and put them in a saucepan later to cook it into a stock. And I will show you again as well at the end of this video how to use the trimmings of chicken to make a nice homemade chicken stock, which you can freeze or refrigerate. This stock will come very handy later on in cooking. You can use it in many different ways. Make it into soup as your base stock, and I use it in my stir fry a lot. So instead of artificial flavoring MSG, I use chicken stock, which I made myself. So much healthier. Extra umami into the dishes. So as with cutting the chicken strips, we're going to now cut the slices. We need to trim off the extra fat, skin, or the film that's covered on top of the breast. So have the knife tilting towards yourself a little bit, so this way you have slightly wider surface of cut. Again, find the grain, and then when you finish cutting, you can see there's long strips of lines on the cut. The thickness should be about 2 to 3 millimeters. Now the beef meat cut, so we need to marinate it. This is about 230 grams, so we need to marinate it with salt, some white pepper, some soy sauce. About 1/5 of a teaspoon, about a gram of salt, and similar amount of white pepper pinched and sprinkled on the top. And then the soy sauce, about 2 teaspoons. If you don't eat soy sauce, you can leave it out and instead add the double amount of the salt recommended. So now we add a bit of 2 tablespoons of water, or if you can make it or you have it, ginger and spring onion juice and mix with water as well, and pour it over the seasoning and the meat, and use your hand and fingers to gently lift it up and then put it down, lift it up from the bottom to the top and a few times until you see the liquid in the mixing bowl disappearing. So this way the meat absorbs all the moisture, so when we cook later on, it will be tender and soft. At this stage, we add 1 teaspoon of dry corn flour. The use of corn flour is to lock in all the moisture inside the meat when we cook, as well as giving that nice smooth texture. So once all that coated and mixed well, we need to drizzle with some cooking oil. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit more because we'll need it in the cooking pan anyways. This will help separate the meat easier later. So once it's marinated all mixed up, cover it up and marinate in the fridge for at least half an hour. Using the trimmings of chicken to make stock is the best way to reduce waste. You can use meat, try not to use fat and the skin, and then also the bones as well, chicken leg bone, or also even the carcass and bones from your roast chicken will do very nicely as well. So plenty of water in a big enough saucepan, and then few slices of ginger. Ginger and chicken go really well. And if you have spring onion, some spring onion later on as well, which I will tell you when to put it in. So in a high heat, leave it to boil, and use a spatula or a spoon to spread the ingredients in there so it cooks evenly. So once it's start to boil, you can see there's a layer of foam on the top. It is very important that we skim that off. This way the soup will be clear and also taste much better as well. We'll take a couple of minutes until all the foam are finished. This is all the impurity from the meat. So as it bubbles more, there'll be more foams coming up. Right, so there's now no more foam on top of the stock. We can leave it on the side on the lower heat to simmer for half an hour. And this is the bigger pot which I combined this small pot I cooked now and then with the earlier pot that I cooked with some bones in. You can see that with this one I've got some spring onion in there. So have a taste. It should taste very nice, full of flavor. You can season a little bit with salt, but that's not necessary. The last stage would be to drain the soup into a container which you can cool the stock in. So we've got a sieve with very fine mesh. So this way, all the little bits of foam that got to the bottom, I didn't manage to pick it up earlier, will be skimmed off this way. So you can see the stock, it's very clean. Cover it up and leave it to cool until it's completely cooled down. And then you can put it into your container, which is suitable for fridge and freezer storage. Enjoy it whenever you want it. If you like it, please share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.